Today we're going to make a cactus painting. The first step of doing this is sketching out your cactus with a pencil. I'm going to use a white colored pencil, but you can just use a regular pencil as well. Now I'm going to start at the bottom of my page with some shorter cacti shapes. So to make a cacti, I'm just going to draw a curved line like this. Now to make it even more cactus-like, I'm going to add some lines in the middle of my cactus. I'm going to start by drawing one right down the middle, and then adding kind of a curved line on the left and a curved line on the right. That also makes my cactus look a little bit more three-dimensional by adding those curved lines. Now after I have one or two cacti in the front, I can add some taller cacti behind them so that it looks like they're being overlapped by the ones in the front, like this. Let's draw a nice tall shape like so. And I think I've got room over here. I'm going to do one more tall one. You decide where you want to add cacti to your picture so that it looks the way you want it to. I don't like to leave spaces that are all empty, but I also don't like to make it too crowded. So that's going to be up to you as an artist to decide what you think looks nice. After I have my shape sketched out, I'm going to use some paint to mix some green colors to outline my cacti. So I already have yellow and blue on my paint palette. I'm just going to choose an area where I'm going to mix my color and mix a little bit of yellow and blue together until I start getting the colors of green that I want. Now when I have a color that I like, I'm just going to paint right over my lines with some nice thick brush strokes. After my lines are outlined, I'm going to make a tint of green by adding a large scoop of white to whatever green paint I have left. If I need to make more green paint, that's okay. Now, using this nice new green paint, I'm going to add a wavy line on top of each of the straight lines that I drew on my cactus. Now, the wavy line is going to give the cactus some texture so that it looks a little bit prickly. So, for example, I'm going to start on this line right here, and using just the point of my brush, I'm going to do a wavy line all the way down. Get some more paint, and do another wavy line all the way down. I'm going to keep on doing this to every single line that I painted, making more tinted green paint if needed. Now for the very last wavy line I'm going to do, I'm going to pick up a smaller brush and I'm going to get an even bigger scoop of white to add into my paint. This tint is going to be almost mostly white. Barely any little green paint in there. Now using this little teeny tiny brush and this really light paint, I'm going to add one more tiny zigzag line to maybe just a few of my other zigzag lines. You don't have to go over the whole thing this time. This is just sort of like a highlight on a few of the bumpy areas of our cactus, so you don't have to put it everywhere. I usually just put a few kind of on the top. It's also a really good idea on this project to start your wavy lines on your cacti that are in the background, and then after you finish those, come back and do the wavy lines on your cacti in the foreground. That way it will look like these cacti are in front. When our cacti are all done, there's a couple extra things we're going to do to finish up our picture. First, we're going to add some needles to our cacti using a little piece of cardboard. We're going to use this sort of like a stamp to print on the lines of the needles. So I'm just going to dip the little skinny end into the white paint, and I'm going to stamp this wherever I want a needle to stick out of my cactus. And usually needles kind of grow in little clumps, so I like to sort of add maybe 3 or 4 little, or maybe even 5 needles radiating out from the same point of the cactus. And you can add as many needles as you like. I like to put them around the edges and on the inside too. Just make sure that you don't forget to put them in their little clumps, otherwise they might not look like needles.
All right, well, thank you.
The last step is adding some flowers. Now I'm going to clean my brush. I actually haven't cleaned my brush this whole time because I liked it when the different green colors were mixing together. But with my pink flowers, I don't want any green paint to come through. So I'm cleaning it, wiping it off, and I'm going to create a tint of pink. I don't want it to be as dark as the original paint color, so I'm going to once again mix in a little bit of white with it. And I'm going to add some flowers just by creating some quick little brush strokes, like so. I'm going to pick the spot where I want my flower to be. I think this looks like a nice, somewhat empty spot on top of my cacti. And then I'm just going to flick my brush upwards to create some petals. And sometimes I get some pure white and add a little white mixed in on the very top to kind of make the petals stand out a little bit more. You can add 1, 2, or 3 flowers, whatever you think looks good with your picture. When your flowers and your needles are done, your picture is complete.